Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! Context. I'm the co-owner of a car rental company, and with this COVID-19 pandemic, many of our employees decided to either quit or to get their vacation, so we were forced to hire 12 new workers. We decided, me and Mike, my co-owner, to each hire 6 of the 12 workers, before I took 5 days of absence. Personal problems. This happened today. I decided to go get one of my cars to take my girlfriend out for the day. This wasn't my day back. I went directly to my office and searched for the key and I didn't find it. I found it odd because there were only 4 papers on my desk and none of them was a specific car I searched for. So I called Mike to ask him about it. Hi Mike, sorry to disturb you on your day off, but did you take the blue Mercedes? Oh, good morning OP. No man, I didn't take it. Did you check the desk? Maybe someone rented it? No man, there is no paperwork. That's odd. You should ask Jess. Jess? Oh yeah, you didn't meet her yet. She's a new one responsible for our front counter. Okay Mike, thanks for your help. So I exited the office and went directly to the front counter, where I was greeted by Jess. Hello sir, how can I help you? She said it in a kind of seductive way. Hi Jess, I just wanted to know about the blue Mercedes. Can you tell me where the keys are? Sorry sir, we don't have the Mercedes. It isn't available right now. Oh, if that's the case then can you please give me the papers? What papers? You know, the papers that were supposed to be on the desk. How do you know about that? Maybe because I went to the office and didn't find any papers, nor the keys. What? I'm calling the police. What for? You just admitted that you were trying to steal some car keys. It was beginning to become a screaming contest at this point. I tell her, do you even know who I am? I don't care about who you are. I'm calling security, the owner and the police. Security! Security! The security guard asks, what is it? Just tells him, take this man out to a closet or something like that, and keep him there. I am calling the police and the owner. Do you know who that is? I tell him, okay, let's go sir. The security guard looked at me and I winked at him, then he understood. We went to my office and then I explained everything to him after calling Mike to tell him to go visit. About 10 minutes later, Mike arrived and the police not long after that. The guard says, Sir, I think they are here. We got out of the office and greeted everyone. Officer, it's him. Mike asks, what are you talking about? And one of the police officers tells him, I think she's telling me that this is the man who tried to steal your car, sir. No, sir, he is my partner in crime. What do you mean? I mean that he is a co-owner of this company. And Jess's face went as white as a ghost. Then she said, oh, now I think there is no need for the officers. Sorry for disturbing you. If that's it, then we can leave. So I say, wait officer, there is a small problem here. I didn't find my car and no paperwork for it. I think that there is something fishy happening here. So the 2 cops stopped. Mike says, Jess, you have 1 minute to tell us where the car is or you are going to jail. You know that, right? I hope that you have read your contract before you agree to it. Jess, now in tears, says, sorry sir, the car. Me now fearing that she crashed it or that it was stolen, so I angrily said, where is my car? My mother needed a car and when she knew that I was working here she came and forced me to give it to her for 3 days. I didn't want to, but she forced me. OP surprisingly calm says, look Jess, call your mom. Tell her to get here with a car and then she can exchange it with a Toyota or a Ford, okay? I then smiled at her. Officers, if you would be so kind to come to the office, I would like to treat you to a coffee. One of the officers says, okay, thanks. But the other one says, sir, I don't think it's a good idea. But he tells him, I said it's okay. We then went to the office and told him that I was not planning on filing charges on Jess but her mother. About 30 minutes later, Karen entered the store. Mike says, we should go out now. But I say, wait a minute. I get on the company phone. Security guard, please block the entryway. Thank you. Now we can go. We exited the room, and when Karen saw us, she tried to run, but the door was locked. The police officer tells her, "Ma'am, stop." I did nothing. She gave me the car. Pointing at her own daughter. I tell her, okay, now I'm certain that you are a disgusting human being. The first police officer tells the other one, give me the handcuffs. And he then put her in handcuffs. Jess says, I beg you, sir. She went on her knees. I beg you, sir, please don't take her to jail. That's my girl. Now get your hands off of me. One of the police officers tell the other, go talk to her in private. And one of you, means the owners, should probably go with him for statements. Mike says, OP, you could go check your car. I will go with the officer. Okay, then we are off. I tell the officer if it's not a problem, I would like to see my car first. If there is nothing wrong with it, I will not press charges. Whispered it in his ear. Okay, it's your car, not mine. We then went to the car. Nothing seemed odd except 3 cans of beer and the smell of cigarettes. And when I was just about to tell the officer that I won't be pressing charges on Karen, she carved a big vertical line on the passenger door of the Mercedes. At that moment, my heart fell to the ground and continued rolling until it hit the trash. What did you just do? Oh, this? It's a souvenir left by a beautiful lady. I tell her with the calmest voice possible, look, Karen, I'm not going to press charges against you. I was even going to let you have another car for free, but now the nice guy is dead to you, and now you will get arrested for real. So that's how it is. She then spat in my face. And that's what you get for being a jerk. Look, you're just getting in more mess now. Officer, I would like to press charges for theft, assault, and damage of property on my own part. On the part of my partner, I would like to press charges for theft and damage of property. And on the company's part, I would like to press charges for theft, violation of property, and destruction of property. You can't do that, right, officer? No, actually he can. Karen now spits in the officer's face as well and tell him, you don't know your job. And now you can add assault on an officer. I then called Mike and put on speaker. Hey Mike, do you agree on me pressing charges on your name? Oh yeah. And Jess wants to also press charges. Jess says, hello sir, sorry for what happened just now. I would like to press charges on my mom. The other officer have already finished the paperwork. Once again, sorry for what happened. She said it in tears. In the end, Karen was charged with 3 cases of theft and destruction of property, 1 case of assault, 1 case of violation of property, 1 case of assault on an officer, child endangerment, and many other charges concerning Jess. She's 17 years old. Updates. I just finished my meeting with Jess. I asked her about her living condition and all that. She have a good place to stay and she will be better off there. But now I feel sympathy for her. Her mother did horrible things to her. I won't go into details, but you can imagine what she did. I will not fire her. She seemed like a nice and smart girl. And now that she's free from her mother, she'll do just fine. Update 2. Just got my car back. No visible marks or anything. And it didn't cost me too much, thankfully. Context. I'm male 15 and I'm really good bowler. I have 4 balls. Hello Solid, Winner Pearl, High Road X, and an ice. And a bag filled with equipment from shoes to cleaner, and tape to wrist guards. All my stuff is around $900 and I'm so thankful for it. So I was out at my local bowling alley for some practice. I was alone in my own pair and was doing some warm-ups. As I'm throwing my ice, doesn't do anything, it's just plastic. It goes into the gutter, but I get it to start going where I need it to be. I then start throwing at the 10 pin all the way on the right to get that spare practice on. I go through the whole game warming up and I get only around 45. I see the entitled mother look at me and the score and she kinda laughs to her. I just think to myself that she's gonna be surprised when she sees me bowl the next 3 games. I bowled 4 in total. I shot at 279. All strikes but 1 spare. and the woman looks super impressed. I keep shooting and I get around 213 and 259. The entitled kid comes over and asks if he could throw my ball. He looks around 10 and my ball is 15 pounds. So I said he could if he can lift it. It was plastic, so I didn't care that much for it. They are pretty cheap and I can buy a new one. He did pick it up and he threw it down the lane. It smacked, but it managed to get 4 pins, and I grabbed it off the rack on their side. As I walk back over to my side, this entitled mother grabs my arm and says, where are you going with my son's ball? And I just stare in so much confusion. It is actually my ball, and I was just getting it back. No, you gave it to my son, so now it's his. At this point, I was a little aggravated because my shoes did not feel right, and this mom doesn't seem to understand. Ma'am, I had this ball purchased. This is my bowling ball, and I did not give it to your son. Yes, you did. I saw you give it to him. Give it back. Then she tried to grab it from me. I pulled the ball away and placed it back on my rack. I then remembered that I always kept a pocket knife on me and I hovered my hand near it in a defensive position. Miss, those 4 balls are mine and I didn't give your son anything. He borrowed it from me. I say as I see the kid walking over to my side and he grabs my halo, which is my most important ball. Hey, I say, grabbing his wrist. Don't touch my son. The entitled mother screeches as she slaps me on the back of my head. I was done with this lady and just said, don't touch me or I'll call the manager. I just used Karen's main enemy against her. She started to get really angry and pushed me on the ground, and I hit my head pretty badly and I was stunned for a moment. I then see the entitled mother and her kid start taking my stuff. I grab the kid and yoink my bag from him along with my halo. Come here, you little jerk. The entitled mother says as she runs at me. I just trip her and the counter happens to get wind of the situation. The officer that was standing there rushes over to break up the fight and he does, until the woman screams that I stole her son's equipment. Do you have any proof that this is your stuff, kid? He used my real name because he's my friend's dad, so score. To which I pull out my phone and show him a picture of me with my bowling balls and a tournament photo, and a before and after picture of a deep cleaning process, and he looks to the entitled mother and she just goes bright red. But that's an easily manipulated photo. It's fake. She screams as the manager walks over. She was watching the whole thing when the officer walked over. Miss, please leave the alley before Chris, the officer's not real name, escorts you out. And I was so happy at this point. I'll speak to the owner about this. The woman screams as she throws a $20 out of her purse at the manager. I just look at the manager and she and I are both worried for that woman, and we kinda laugh. She offered me some ice cream for the trouble and of course I took it. However, the parking lot was a different story. I walked out of the building and the entitled mother was waiting for me. I was just ready to get picked up by my mom, but this entitled mother wanted round 2. She saw me and started walking to me. Give my son your stuff. You don't deserve it. She huffs. I kept my cool and threw out my ice cream. No, miss. You're not getting my stuff. I calmly tell her and just pull my phone out. Now, she says to me as she swipes for my phone. I put it back in my pocket and say, you want my stuff? Take it. I say before pulling my pocket knife. I had a card on me to allow me to do this, and it was in self-defense, so it was legal. The woman screeches and yells assault and other nonsense. I flip it back closed, and the officer walks outside after hearing the calls. He looks to the entitled mother, then to me, and he just sighs. Ma'am, get out of here, he says, sounding absolutely done. And the entitled mother just screeches at him saying that I almost killed her and that I had a knife. It was sorta true, but I only would have killed her if it meant that it would have saved my life. I didn't know what she would do to me, and I was just a small kid. I was 5'7" and only like 138 pounds, compared to this 5'10" lady. The officer looks at me, so I give him my knife and my side of the story. The cop puts the entitled mother in handcuffs and the kid is beating his leg while he's trying to cuff his mom. I took the kid away from the officer to keep him from hitting him. The cop then takes him to the station, and I never heard from them again until I knew from a friend that this woman was arrested for assaulting a minor, slander, and possession of crack. I hope she enjoyed prison. When we started going back to the office during the last few months of COVID, people were very careful about touching commonly touched objects, such as stair rails and door handles, mostly because they were cautious about germs, but also kinda scared of getting COVID that way. The men's bathroom's trash can was placed next to a wall, between the sinks and the door. This way you would throw out your wet paper towel and then go over to the door and leave. This meant you had to use your bare hands to open the door. Someone, never knew who, got the idea of moving the trash can right next to the door, so that you could open it with a paper towel still in your hand and then throw it out as you leave. This was great, because you no longer had to open the door with your bare hands, and people felt safer that way. The only problem was that it was a bit in the way. You had to move an inch or two to the left to not walk into it, which was not a problem because the door and the hallway were pretty wide anyway. The office safety people found out about this after a few weeks, moved it back, and put up a sign asking not to move the trash can because it blocked the door. Cue the malicious compliance. Nobody moved it back to the door, but people were still not willing to open the door with their bare hands. So they continued using the paper towel to open the door and threw them across the hallway into the trash can as they walked out. Most people were good at landing the towels in a trash can, but some were not. It was not long before the paper towels started piling around the trash can. It never got too bad, but it kinda looked messy and dirty. Naturally, it took very little time before people started complaining about it. The office safety people ended up buying a smaller trash can that was attached to the wall, right next to the door. To this day, most people use paper towel to open the door, and the bathroom is no longer messy. So everyone won. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.